Thank you very much. We're going to open this meeting up at 5:30 p.m. We'll start off with roll call, please. Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Hul.
Here.
Councilmember Ionati.
Here.
Vice President Brown.
Here.
President Verducci.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. In the event of an emergency, please go back out the doors you came in. If you can't make it that way, please take the side doors to the exit marked exit and back. First item up in session tonight is executive session. We will be taking a vote to go into executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42465A2 for litigation matters involving prospective litigation to be initiated against and/or by the town. I will entertain a motion.
Going to go into executive session.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, we need a roll.
Councilmember Hul.
Yes.
Councilmember Ionati.
Yes.
Vice President Brown.
Yes.
President Verducci.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. Motion passes.
All right, thank you very much. As you see on our agenda, we're going to make every effort to be back out here at 6 and start back up on the next items. Thank you. Out of executive session.
Motion to come out of executive session?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Hul.
Yes.
Councilmember Ionati,
Yes.
Vice President Brown,
Yes.
President Verducci.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
All right. I will take a vote to seal the minutes of executive session.
I'll make a motion to seal.
Second?
Motion and a second. Discussion. Madam Clerk with the roll, please.
Yes.
Councilmember Ionati, Vice President Brown,
Yes.
President Verducci.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Right. The town council met in executive session under the legislation 42465A2 exemption for litigation matters. No votes were taken. All right. Item number 2 on the agenda tonight is meeting minutes. We have 1 session minute open and 1 executive session minutes. Anybody have any corrections, additions, subtractions? If not, we'll take a motion.
Make a motion to approve February 10th, 2026 open session minutes.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? All right. Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. And the other set, March 3rd, 2026, executive session
I'll make
minutes.
a motion to approve March 3rd, 2026 executive session.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion or edits? Seeing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Thank you very much. All right, that concludes that. I feel like we've got something going on here on item number 3. We all feel very safe and comfortable in here now. We see a lot of great people in here. Is Chief around? Oh, there he is in back. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have, this is Chief Potvin, Chief of Hopkins Hill Fire District. Chief Katie is here as well. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming in. And it looks like we have some recognition and some awards tonight for some very great people we have in our community. So please go ahead.
Thank you, President Verducci. Good evening, council members. For the record, I'm John Potvin, Chief of the Hopkins Hill Fire District. I'm also the chairperson of the Rhode Island Ambulance Service Coordinating Advisory Board and the past chair of the American Heart Association Southern New England Board of Directors. Tonight, I represent all 3 of those organizations. Alongside Chief Katie of the Central Coventry Fire District and Chief Christopher Albro of the Western Coventry Fire District. More importantly, tonight, we want to gather to recognize something truly extraordinary. A moment when training, teamwork, courage, and love came together to save a life. On the evening of August 13th, 2025, EMS crews from Central Coventry, Hopkins Hill, Western Coventry, along with Coventry Fire Alarm, State E911, and the Coventry Police Department, responded to what initially sounded like a routine call for a person who had passed out. But within moments of arrival, crews recognized they were facing an even greater challenge: a 48-year-old woman who was unresponsive and in cardiac arrest. What happened next is why we are here tonight. Before the first apparatus ever arrived, the patient's parents stepped forward in the most difficult moment imaginable. Faced with seeing their daughter collapse in front of them, they did not freeze. They did not give up. Guided by the calm voice of a state E911 call taker and a Coventry fire alarm dispatcher, they immediately began CPR. Those first few minutes mattered. Because of their courage and willingness to act, they gave their daughter and responding crews the chance that they needed for survival. Our firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, and dispatchers then carried that effort forward with tremendous professionalism and skill. Crews rapidly took over CPR, managed the patient's airway, applied the cardiac monitor, identified a lethal arrhythmia, and delivered a life-saving defibrillation shock that restored a perfusing rhythm and restored the patient's pulse. And then something happened that many seasoned DMS providers rarely witness. As Captain Peter Gingerella described, this patient went from cardiac arrest to awake, alert, and talking, something he stated he had never seen in nearly 30 years as an EMS provider. Today, because of the combined efforts of her parents, our dispatchers, and our EMS providers, this patient is home, back to living her normal life and enjoying time with the people who love her most. At this time, I'd like to call Jessica and her parents, Raymond Angel and Melody Castle, to come forward. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what this profession is all about: saving lives and making a difference. Tonight's awards are not simply about clinical excellence. They are about ordinary people doing extraordinary things under unimaginable pressure. They are about teamwork. They are about remaining calm. They are about responders who executed flawlessly and parents whose love and determination gave their daughter a second chance at life. The American Heart Association's Heart Saver Hero Award reminds us that survival from sudden cardiac arrest depends on a chain of survival, which includes early recognition, early CPR, rapid defibrillation, and advanced care. On August 13th, every single link in that chain held strong. To all of tonight's honorees, your actions made the difference between tragedy and another chance at life. And to Jessica's family, thank you for reminding us that heroes are not only found in uniforms, sometimes they are parents fighting for their child. Congratulations to all of tonight's recipients, and thank you for your pride, dedication, and service to this community. I will now ask Jessica to help us present the awards. Each first responder will be receiving an American Heart Association Heart Saver Hero Award and an EMS Pride Medical Director Quality Award from Dr. Ken Williams of the Rhode Island Department of Health. First, from Coventry Fire Alarm, Dispatcher Frank Hart. From the Central Coventry Fire District, Captain Peter Gingerella. Firefighter Dominic Bianco. Lieutenant Brennan Phillips. Former Central Coventry firefighter Jonathan Skirker. Lieutenant Raymond Costelli. Firefighter Anthony Cataldo. From the Hopkins Hill Fire District, unable to attend this evening, firefighter Justin Deem. And firefighter Michael Mancini. And from the Western Coventry Fire District, former firefighter Joshua Plesiak, who is not able to attend. And firefighter Maurice Remillard. In addition to our first responders, we would also like to present Heart Saver Hero Awards to Jessica's parents, Raymond Angel and Melody Castle. And we'd also like to present Jessica with a small token of appreciation for being such a great patient.
All the credit goes to these guys. Tremendous work, and we thank them.
Well, thank you and congratulations to all, and thank you for your attention.
The
this community is far better off with having an active fire presence. And we couldn't have done this without them. Thank you.
Someone up here is chopping onions. It's hard to take all that in. That's really, oh, God bless you guys. Bless everybody. I can't imagine as a parent. You guys are incredible. Great job to all. This is what it looks like. This is real community. This is what matters the most. All the other things we may discuss up here, this one really hits you. Bless you all. That was incredible. Vice President Brown.
To say the least, I'm extremely proud, seeing that I hired probably 80% of his, right? So, but certainly this job, you know, and most people don't realize what these guys go through and do every day of the week, you know, and a lot of it goes unrecognized, but those guys right there and the ladies that we have, they are absolutely unbelievable at doing their job. I witnessed it for the 32 years I was fire chief in Coventry. We have some of the best firefighter dual-trained EMTs in the state of Rhode Island. So I personally thank them all. You know, I always said that to you guys all the time. It was, you know, my number one priority was my people and make sure that you were properly trained. And I appreciate everything you guys do every day. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for coming in here. And thank you for all that you do.
Sweet. She's adorable. She's so cute. She's so cute.
Yeah, like I could go home at this point. The rest doesn't like. Follow that. We can just go home now. Oof.
All right. Who wants to follow that up? Public comment on docketed items. Please come on up to the mic and name and address for your record, please. This is docketed items.
This is that docketed item that I wanted to speak on. My name is Scott Guthrie, 31 Maplewood Drive. Very friendly with the Angel family. I've known them for years. Can't congratulate the guys enough. But what people don't understand is that the state law changed on handling CPR calls a few years back, which requires 8 personnel to work on that patient for 30 minutes. If you have one of those calls in the town of Coventry, it is more than the staff that we currently have that are on a single shift. Imagine having 2. That happened twice in the last, I think, 2 months. 2 CPRs in Coventry at the same time. We had West Greenwich in here, and we had Situate in here, and we had West Warwick, East Greenwich. I think the only town that didn't come in and help us out was Forster. I had served in the start of my fire department journey in 1974 at Hopkins Hill. Worked with the great Chief Brown. I worked at Coventry Fire Alarm and did similar things that Dispatcher Hot did and guide people through emergencies. It's all part of how the system works. I then moved on to, I was there for 11 years, working for the town of Coventry, dispatching fire and rescue. Then I went on to North Kingstown Fire, where I served for 20 years. And that is almost about 36 years, I think, in the fire service. I was gladdened to hear that Western Coventry District provided their assistance in this. What I'm saddened to hear about is tomorrow night, Western Coventry Fire District is going to vote to not be a part of a municipal fire department in the town of Coventry. The same thing that they did last year. The council voted in opposition to this
You might want to
resolution.
keep this for undocketed. We're straying a bit from the public acknowledgement.
Oh, okay. So, in any event, just a heartfelt thanks to all the guys from Central Western, Hopkins Hill, and Anthony, I would imagine. Was Anthony, they weren't on that one. So kudos to those guys. And just remember, you get one CPR call in Coventry and you're down to, I think, 3 people that are left that are on duty to cover for 30 minutes. They're stuck with that patient according to state law. And it seems to me that that statistic is working. And this family just goes to show that, it's for the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in chambers? All right, we will head over to Zoom. If you're on Zoom and you would like to make a comment, please raise your hand. All right, not seeing anybody on there. We'll give it one more sec. And that will do it for public comment. Moving on to item number 5. We have our Assistant Town Manager, Maria Broadbent, is here. This is a topic that came a few weeks back now. Discussion of town-owned property. This originally started with the focus on one particular property, and we said, hey, why don't we get Maria to tell us what's going on with every piece of town-owned property? And Maria has done that, and tonight we will hear what she's found for us. Go ahead, take it away. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. President, members of the council, Maria Broadbent, Assistant Town Manager. I sent all of you an email a little while ago because the spreadsheet that I worked on didn't come out in the agenda the way that I thought it was going to. So it should look like this. And understand that I'm here to sort of talk about town properties in general, not to talk about any specific property. So we don't meet in work session, but it's the kind of thing that, it might take us a couple of steps to decide what you want to do with some of the town property. So the only one that has the authority to sell or transfer property is the town council. So what I would say is probably the most important thing when we're looking at town property is that we don't look at it in a silo, and that we be very careful and very strategic and make sure that the right people on staff are involved in the conversation. There may be properties that Director McGee in Public Works is familiar with just from his many years of experience in living in the town. There may be ones that I might look at and say, hey, if we kept that property and did something a little bit different next door, we could prevent some flooding somewhere else. There might be some that the town engineer might look at for some of the same reasons or some of the things that are coming up in the pipeline engineering wise. All of the properties naturally are subject to zoning and, whatever other state, local laws there are. So the chart that I gave you has 3 colors. And it was interesting to me because I've been looking at I've been looking at these properties for the last 4 years. I've been here every once in a while. I have a whole binder of them, but this is the first time that when I got a list printed out that actually showed the properties that are on that list in gray. And those properties are all in Wood Estates. At some point, the town through tax sale in 2002 took all of these properties that are shown in gray. So those are all properties that basically were taken through a tax sale and you know the same kind of thing that you would think of in terms of redevelopment in some ways. But so those are the gray properties. The properties that are on there in pink are properties that have a current municipal function or have a possible function. Not to go into specific properties, but say something like the old police station. Because of the location of that, it wouldn't be a great idea to discard that property or to sell it, because you'll never get a property like that right in your, you know, as much of a downtown as we have. And then the properties that are in yellow, some of those are really tiny. They might be the size of this area right here, and they could be on that list because they were surveying mistakes. Could be any number of reasons. Some of them are little tiny triangles. So those are the properties that, you know, should we decide to really dig in and decide, you know, is this property functional for the town right now or functional in the future, that those might be ones that we go ahead and look at. You know, understanding though that in some cases the neighbors have probably already encroached on them. They're probably already using them. And that if we were to transfer them or sell them or do something else, we're not going to make a huge dent in the budget. You know, anything that's a property is a one-term expense. One-term, well, expense sometimes to sell it, but it's a one-time gain that should probably go into a capital fund for one-time expenses. But we're,
Did you, go ahead, Councilman Wu?
Respectfully, I disagree with that. We get taxes, and we would get taxes every year. So we would,
no,
so
understood.
income coming in is not a one-time fund.
I agree with you.
Just
I agree.
clarify that.
I agree with you. And it's our maintenance
Sale.
costs.
You just meant the sale. The sale is one time.
Sale.
Words matter, though.
Oh, yeah.
I
the
just
s-
want to clarify.
We're
Thank you.
on the same page. The actual money from a sale of a property would be one-time sale. You know, in some cases, I think 15 Old Summit Road is a really great example. You know, that was a building that was falling down. Literally holes in the roof big enough for the rain to come in, and we've transferred that property to someone in the neighborhood. No, it's not gaining taxes because a nonprofit has it. But being able to save that historic building and really contribute to the economic vitality of the Old Summit Road neighborhood makes a huge difference. And once that property is restored, it'll be a bicycle museum, and a lot of really great things are going to happen there. So I've put together a checklist, because I'm prone to doing that, of things for staff and the council to consider when looking at properties. You know, there are properties, like I found a beautiful piece of property on Johnson's Pond, but that property is a property that was a FEMA property, bought through FEMA because it was one where we were having a lot of claims for flood insurance. So the federal government puts out money to buy those properties to keep your overall FEMA flood insurance down for the town. So there are a number of different reasons. Sometimes a property might look at it and go, oh my gosh, that has some value. But the value might be in the land itself. I won't go through the entire list, but, just to give you some idea that if you want to go forward, you may want to start even with the smaller properties. None of the properties, I put this together, it took me about a week to go through them, go back and forth between assessors records and everything else. And if you decide that you want to pursue selling or whatever it is you want to do with even some of the small lots, they need to be ground truthed. Like, we need to actually go and look at each one of them and make sure that it makes sense. There are properties, I'm sure, that are on this list that are actually properties that belong under the care of the land trust, that the deeds were not recorded properly. So they may look like a significant piece of land, but not all the deeds for the land trust have been done correctly.
Gotcha. Councilman Hu? Sorry. I think it was.
With that being said, that was one of my questions. We're gonna do title searches on all these as well, because I'm sure that needs to be done, so we have so if anyone, that's gonna be the procedure for looking at something, get it looked at.
Exactly. So
Searches and.
you're exactly right. So my discussion today is really just a reaction to hearing that the council talking about town properties and what to do with them. We can come back again and talk about more specifically what the steps are. You'll find that there are properties that say there's a reverter clause. The teen center's a good example. The deed says it's a reverter clause. The organization to which it would revert no longer exists. I researched the family history of everyone on that board that gave it to us 55 years ago, and they've all passed away except for maybe one person. But those people didn't legally own it. They were members of a committee, and the committee owned it. So there has to be careful research. In some cases, you might end up with a property that's between 5 abutters. So you need to find a fair process. No one is going to spend the amount of money as an individual to split a tiny piece of property with their neighbors. They're non-conforming lots, they need surveys, they need new deeds. It's not worth it to them. They're probably already using it, so why would they do that? So there's a variety of things that we would have to look at. I can come back to you with some ideas on what the steps are and maybe prioritize, after hearing from you, which ones you want to look at first. Little ones or big ones?
Just to make it clear, so we're not upsetting the whole town, like if they see something on this list, does not mean that we're going off and selling it and building or doing anything on it. I mean,
Nope.
just
This is
all to look at it as a whole, just so.
holistically.
Crazy.
You were exactly right. This is just a way to put the list in front of you so you can see what properties the town does own, but not here to make any recommendations about any specific property. Only that, I caution you and encourage you to make sure that we look at things through a process and that we include everybody that has some interest in that property in terms of the operational function of the town.
Yeah, and I think you did kind of what we need to do first in any regards with something this big is put it all on a spreadsheet. I always like that approach. You got about 250 properties here. There's a ton that I've already kind of been grayed out. So maybe a process just like you're describing where we even sort it by size and, go that way with it. And we can, talk amongst council and what we see doing that with. But the first step was to kind of, present it all to us.
And
So-
and what those steps are for big properties, small properties.
Yeah.
One
But,
abutter, 5 abutters, different.
This will
way to
help
go
us
about it.
determine, the next steps as far as, are we sitting on too much? Should we sell? Should we do this? And that'll be a bigger discussion. Councilman Hu?
Thank you. Don't take anything of what I'm about to say personal. I'm a little frustrated that list that you provided for us this evening, I had that list. We had that list before. I personally went lot for lot, tax assessors database. It took me a couple of hours. I didn't receive any information tonight that I didn't already have. I would have thought that we would have received more, more background information. You know, you stood up there tonight and said it doesn't make a difference if we tear these lots, or if of course it makes a difference, because if there's any minimal tax revenue that the abutters can have the property, even if it's $3.
I agree with you.
It adds
And I
up.
corrected myself. My discussion was related to a one-term income from the sale of the
No, this was
property.
written after you
And
said that.
that we can go ahead and collect taxes from a property similar to the property next to the teen center. You know, now, once that reverts to the neighbor next door, we'll be able to collect taxes on that. So I agree with you.
All right. So this was the first step. Looks like we got a lot of detail here, but to your point, you know, there's no sense spending time and money on doing a bunch of title searches and everything else until we at least get a head around what our priorities are. Not going to take forever because we do have a finite list now. We know what we're talking about. So we appreciate that effort. And we'll go forward from there. We have multiple different paths these things could take. With the intent of, you know, would be nice, even though it's not going to be huge numbers, to get the one-time influx and get these things back on the tax roll. Maybe there's a group of people out there who do want these odd parcels, and, you know, it's good to be cognizant of it. So appreciate that this all came from the one item, but I think we now know the whole world of it, so people aren't left wondering, well, this property over here is this, then how much more does the town have? We've got it all now in front of us in a searchable list. Did you have anything?
No, I just
You good?
want to be stated clear that these properties, people can't go looking through them and think that they're all open and be sold, because we don't know, there could be a whole bunch of stuff, so, you know, that's how it gets all.
Yeah, this wasn't a posting for, yeah. Yeah, this isn't a for sale posting.
Yeah, and most of them aren't even addresses. Most of them don't even have addresses. It's
Good point.
more of red light,
Yep.
green light, yellow light
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
thing. So the ones in red have a current function. That's right. That's all this was intended to be. These have not been explored in the field. I just wanted to sort of catch up with the discussion that the council was having to make sure that we make decisions based on the best interest of the town as a whole.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll be following up on this. All right. I think that'll conclude item 5. We're on to item 6. We've got a bunch of different ordinances tonight. Are we going to introduce them and then go on, or how we want to do that? I'm sorry. Yeah, I missed that. Thank you. Yep. Okay. So actually, thank you very much, Vice President. We are actually going to do item A under section 8. Sorry about that. I skipped to the wrong thing. We don't want to keep Mr. Chase here. No, he's got things to build and minds to mold. So if you want to come up and Superintendent is here as well, thank you. So Councilwoman Capaldi has requested this.
Yes.
We wanted to hear that presentation. I'm sure she'll be watching this.
I'm going to be super brief. So I'm the Coventry Superintendent, Don Cowart. Every year during budget time, there's always conversation around CTE programming, which programs we have, which programs other communities have, how much we pay in tuition, how much we get in tuition, how much it costs to transport them. And there's a very lively conversation, and it was an excellent idea to have our CTE director come here and give you a presentation. It's a high-level presentation of our CTE programming at the Coventry High School. Tim Chase is our new CTE director. He's finishing up his first year. One of the things that I charged him with when we looked at bringing on a new director is to look at this equation from multiple angles. You know, we have the cost of kids going to other districts. We also have the desire to keep Coventry kids from going someplace else. And then there's an additional motivation to bring other community students in and in the form of tuition. So Tim has presented in front of the school committee many times. He just recently presented a little while ago. Mrs. Capaldi, Councilperson Capaldi had said, you know, I would love to have this happen. I think she communicated with school committee member Dottie Jackvoni. And then between myself and the manager, we were able to kind of get this schedule. So I just wanted to introduce Tim Chase formally, and then I'm going to sit down and, watch the presentation just like you. Thanks.
Thank you, Superintendent. Yes, the kids love him. He's a very busy guy. Yeah, you can keep that when you're
That
done.
keyboard will travel.
There you go.
So hi, good evening. My name's Tim Chase. I have been a Coventry resident for almost 30 years now. My children went through the high school as well. One of the things I like to say when I make these presentations is I had no expectation when my children were coming up from ASFMS that they were going to be involved in CTE at all. They were athletic and high achieving academic kids, and I didn't know that much about CTE, to be honest with you, when they were coming here. I've been an assistant principal for 25 years. The last 8 years were at the high school before I took this job. And it turns out it changed both of my children's lives. So my daughter was in the criminal justice program with Mr. Reed. She is in her first year. She just completed her first year. She has a little cake that says 33% lawyers on it right now. She finished her first year of law school. She will be the first lawyer to come out of our criminal justice program. We've had a lot of students become police officers or correctional officers or work in prison. She will be the first lawyer when she comes out. My son, thanks a lot. My son is a sophomore just finishing at URI in a biotechnology program. He'll be graduating in 3 years total because of the AP courses and the courses that he took in CTE here that made him change his mind from a whole life ambition of being a firefighter and an electrician, sorry, sir, to do biotechnology because of what he learned in Mrs. Pankowitz's class. So when I had the opportunity to take this job, I was very excited because I want everyone's children to have the same opportunities that mine did and to change their lives in a positive way. So I'm here to kind of share a little bit of what we're doing. Hopefully the mic picks me up when I'm standing sideways because I have to look at this myself because there's, I'm not moving now. Technology makes our lives easier.
Do we have any kids from the IT program? Yeah.
It's a touch screen. It was working fine when I was standing.
Right now, Timmy, just put on a booth. Hold on a second.
I'll go really fast once it works. It worked as I was standing behind you. It was good. No pressure. Okay. Power now, it's fine. It might be. I can do it the old fashioned way if worst comes to worst. You get the battery thing. Okay. Yeah, I seem to do the old fashioned more. If I just touch it a little bit. Try it again. Give it a firmer. Okay.
Just have to do it. You know what I mean? Just tell them when.
Can I do it from the back?
Yeah.
I can talk loud. I still have my teacher voice from the old days.
Does he have to be on my?
No worries. Yeah. Okay. Hear me?
Do you want me to do? Use the.
Okay, so one of the important things is that CTE is a, oh boy.
You were Marcus's VP by any chance, were you? I mean, is he sabotaging you?
CTE is a really big part of Coventry's culture. So 70% of all of the students at Coventry High School are enrolled in a CTE pathway of some kind, which is a total of 831 students out of our just over 1,100 students. They are in a CTE program, learning something along the way that's going to lead to a career opportunity for them. Currently, we have 13 pathways, and they range, there's a lot of diversity in those pathways. I'm going to go over those as we go, but there's 13 right now this year, 13 different opportunities for kids to try something different in a career. There's 3 more that are coming in the near future. and 80% of our freshmen are enrolled in CTE. So there's a growing interest and desire, and that's based on the opportunities that we offer that you can't really get anywhere else, even in the state anywhere else. So what's the research say about CTE itself? Mr. Cowart and I were recently at a meeting with the Annenberg Institute from Brown University, and they were talking about CTE and the research nationwide that they do, and why CTE is different than traditional schooling that most of us went through at some point or another. One of the things that they found was that CTE completers, if you finish a program in CTE, you'll on average earn 32% more than someone who did not get involved in a CTE program over the course of your career. CTE students have a significantly lower dropout risk and better attendance over time. I think oftentimes that's because I say to my teachers all the time, you may be the only reason some kids come to school is they want to come to your class. That's the one class they look forward to and that they love. And you see it when our athletes have the teacher appreciation games where they invite their favorite teacher at the end to honor them. What you find oftentimes is 50% of them are CTE teachers a lot of times. And it's because you have real connections to them because you're teaching them something that they love and that they're interested in. Higher college enrollment in health, in IT, and in science, technology, and mathematics. They make more money early and they make more money later down the line. Interestingly, the young lady in that picture, Macy, is the best welder in our building. She is also a criminal justice double completer, and she's already working at Electric Boat a significant amount of time after school, and she's quite an incredible kid. We love when we see kids that are in non-traditional kind of paths. So what happens with our outcomes at our school? From last year, 100% of our cosmetology students who were seniors received their state license to be a cosmetologist. So when you think of the cost of going to Tony and Guy or one of those places to get your cosmetology license, that's going to cost you $15,000 or $20,000, cost you zero. Coventry High School. We pay for everything. We educate you all the way through. We pay for your licensing also in the test. 100% of our manufacturing and design students got into college in those programs. 93% of our health careers students went on to college to become nurses or go into some medical field. The other 7 started working right away as CNAs because all of our health career students come out with CNA licenses also in hand. 91% of our criminal justice students went into the workforce, military, or went into college. 88% of our computer IT kids went directly into college, typically at New England Tech, but also at colleges around New England. 86% of our biomedical science kids did college placements as well in that field, specifically, including my son. 81% of our kids that are in welding got workforce placements right away. Electric Boat's hiring 4,000 people over the next 10 years, 400 a year. They are dying to get our kids, both our welding kids and our precision machining kids, can walk right into jobs making between $27 and $32 an hour right out of high school without ever touching a student loan or going to school, working in a career that they really enjoy. So we're also competing at the highest levels here. So our DECA, our business and leadership program, 3 years ago, we didn't have a DECA program. It had been a real solid program in our school district for 40 years before the teacher retired. Many people went through that program and were very successful. It went away when the teacher went away. Nicole Richards, who was one of the students who went through that program, decided to take it over. So 3 years ago, we had 20 kids in the program. This year, we have 90 kids, and 20 went to the national championships in Atlanta this year because they won the state championship in DECA, which again is about entrepreneurship, business, leadership. Our Cyber Patriot team, which works on cybersecurity, it's sponsored by the United States Air Force in conjunction with a number of high-tech business programs. Our Cyber Patriot team was, our number 1 team was number 1 in the state. Our number 2 backup team was number 2 in the state over all schools in the state. We were 106th out of 3,077 teams nationwide, but that nationwide also includes teams from international schools as well. So we almost cracked the top 100 in the world for cybersecurity. Our NJROTC program was awarded distinguished status last year. They were invited to go to the National Memorial Day Parade this year on Constitutional Avenue in Washington, D.C. Plans have changed due to some circumstances that are going around in the world right now, and they were advised not to participate. I'm not sure there will be a parade there for a number of fairly obvious reasons, probably. Skills USA is essentially the state championships for CTE. All of the CTE programs statewide, they all compete with one another. We had 96 students in 25 different contests. We won 20 medals, 5 state championships, 9 silver medals, 6 bronze. They were in automotive, computer IT, game design, health careers, advertising, and design, culinary, criminal justice, and cosmetology. We're always among the best in the state. And what it looks like every day is our kids get real world experiences working on real life technology that's used out in the real world. It's not like we're going to pretend that we're doing this thing. We are using the same welders that get used at Electric Boat. We are using the same CAD machines that are used in business everywhere. We're using the same cybersecurity materials. Everything is the same as you would get in the workforce. And you have to do 80 hours of hands-on workforce work. So let's talk about some other successes here. That's what I'm here to kind of talk about. So our culinary program was visited by the American Culinary Federation. They come every 3 years to visit to accredit our program. We were awarded a exemplary accreditation. We're the only school in New England that's had 15 years with 0 compliance issues. The chefs that came from Michigan and Maryland that judged our program said that we are a national model, and they encouraged us to have other schools come and visit our school to learn how we do the things that we do, because we're as good as anyone in the country. And not coincidentally, Dr. Marsala, who is one of the chefs in our program and kind of the leader, he is now the ACF secondary the chair of the ACF Secondary Education Committee. He's making policy for other schools nationwide based on the things that we do in our school are becoming literal models for everyone else in the country, and he's the chair of that board. Nicole Burlingame, one of our teachers, she's in her 3rd year as a teacher. She started out as a TA in a classroom, became a teacher. She was chosen to present at the ACTE conference in Nashville when I was there with her. Her expertise right now is expanding CTE access for differently abled children with disabilities. How do you make sure that any child with a disability can still participate in CTA programs and get workforce development and have an opportunity to have a job or a career where they can be successful? She's an expert in that already, because that's something that comes right from her heart and that she pours herself into every day. She studied that, and she spoke about that at this national conference. The 3 people that are pictured there, Nicole's the only one who works in Coventry, but all 3 people that were on this panel that talked were graduates of Coventry High School at a national conference. Mrs. Risch is the Rhode Island STEAM Educator of the Year. She is going to be the leader of one of our new programs that I'm going to talk about in a minute, but she was chosen by the state of Rhode Island to be STEAM Educator of the Year, Science, Technology, and Mathematics. And this just in, our NJROTC area, although it was already a distinguished unit, was also named the most improved unit in Area 1, which covers Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont, and New York. We were the most improved unit in that whole area after our inspection that just happened a month ago. And Cadence Egan, so interesting story. She is the president of Skills USA Rhode Island, the student president. But 2 days last year, before they went to the national program, 2 days before, the person who is the Rhode Island Skills USA organizer quit 2 days before. Sent a 17-year-old girl a text, said, "You're going to be running the conference." The adult who's getting paid 6 figures to do that had a 17-year-old girl take over and lead things. She led 123 people through training sessions. She delivered speeches. She won her 2nd Statesman of the Year award at Skills USA. Last week, she was at the ACTE's National Work-Based Learning Conference, which was held in Providence. And she spoke to 1,000 people. It was on a podcast that's going nationwide about how CTE transformed her and how her involvement with Skills and DECA gave a real firsthand perspective that was awesome. So she's graduating this year. So what's the evidence say about how you have a great program? So multiple courses, having multiple pathways that kind of cover all kinds of kids and all kinds of interests. We have 13 right now. Work-based learning, all of our programs are aligned to people doing internships, working outside with our industry partners. All of our programs will have connections to higher education and workforce development, people who advise us on our curriculum to make sure that our things are modern and current. So it's not just a teacher who's been out of that business for years who's, you know, teaching these things. It's the people who are currently working in these areas advising us as well. I just said that too. And teachers with industry experience. One of the interesting things about CTE is oftentimes we have to recruit people from outside the teaching profession and get them certified to teach in our programs. We've been very fortunate to be able to do that because people want to work at our school because we have great programs and great support. Again, having multiple opportunities lets kids, most of our 8th graders kind of choose two, and they try 2 of them out, one semester for one and one semester for the other. They decide which one turns them on the most and that they want to stay in, and then they go forward from there. And again, we want to make sure that everyone, no matter who they are, no matter what their situation is, has opportunities, and we work really hard to be inclusive to make sure that everyone has opportunities, no matter what it is that they want to work with. We run after school camps. We had 7 different after school camps and 7 different programs for 8th graders to come up. We bus them up to the high school from 3 to 4:30. They tried things out and it was a great recruiting tool. Kids were so excited to come up and work with our teachers and do really fun things. And that's been something that I didn't expect was going to be as big a hit as it was. We have 3 new programs coming. This one has been approved already by the state. We're going to have a renewable energy and environmental protection program. We have connections with Wind down in North Kingstown with the University of Rhode Island. And that's going to cover solar panels, batteries, windmills, any kind of renewable energy, how to engineer those, how to repair those. There's a heavy emphasis on engineering and design as part of that. This is a big one that's coming. So East Greenwich, Classical, and Coventry High School will be the only schools in the state that will have an opportunity. This is in discussion right now at RIDE. We wrote the standards with those 3 schools to get it past the University of Rhode Island. Within 6 years is projected to have a medical school, which I think is a great thing for the state. We have a real problem with primary care physicians and keeping them around, and I think URI is going to make that more accessible for a lot of people that want to be doctors later on. This will give us in Coventry a direct pipeline to having kids go into medical school. And we had cosmetology, but what we found over time was a lot of times you had boys that didn't want to go into a cosmetology program. They want to be a barber. Or we have girls that want to be a barber and they say, I don't want to learn about some of this stuff. I want to cut hair and I want to do those things. We will be the only school in the state that has this. We wrote those standards, Joanne Gorman and I wrote the standards for this. We have it's presently being debated up at RIDE, and I'm feeling very positive that this is going to be a success as well. And we'll have a barbering program to go with our cosmetology program. And finally, it's just a wrap up. It's essentially 70% of our kids, 80% of our freshmen are doing this. The opportunities that are available to you if you are in a CTE program, both to earn college credits, to learn something that you love, to work with expert people on exactly the machines and all of the things that you'll be using out in the real world, and have job offers and certifications in your hand before you walk outside of school is so much better than anything that we had when we were in school. And I think I have the best job in the world because I get to provide so many opportunities for kids. And I love it. I tell Don all the time, I'm hoping that he doesn't try to never give me a raise again because I'm so happy. But I love the job. And I love what we get to do. Don.
Absolutely fantastic presentation. You nailed it. I can see why the kids love your energy. We were just saying here, it's palpable how much you can tell you're into this, and we've come a long way, all due respect to my friends in my high school days that were in the VOTEC. And that was considered a very much different thing in life. And I think people maybe who don't have kids in the school system or haven't in a while, the paradigm's completely
I
shifted.
think that's one of the misnomers of people like, well, oh, I can do this, or I can go to college,
Yeah,
or those kind of things.
exactly.
I don't, pre-med, you're going to go to college.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, I have something for everyone, no matter who
Yeah.
you are, no matter what you want to do. I've got something.
I believe in the program, especially for people who are creative and don't have time to sit there, that the ADHD is going
Yeah,
crazy.
They like to
but
work with their hands.
Utilized it, and he had Tourette's, and he's actually, now he's an electrician. And he
Awesome.
did- Yeah, so I believe in all these programs. My question is, when we're running the program, when we see a decline, when are we swapping them out? When do you know, like, this
Okay.
program isn't gonna go? How
We-
far are
we-
we letting it ride until we stop it and we swap it out with something else?
Generally speaking, if you're going to start any new program, the Governor's Workforce Board gives us information about high demand and high wage careers that are emerging in the state or that exist in the state. So you generally do not create a new program that doesn't meet those requirements of something that's high wage and in high demand, because we don't want to train kids for something where they're not going to have a job or they're not going to do well when they come out.
So when do you phase it out?
You phase it out generally when numbers are low enough that it doesn't make sense to run it anymore, and it could be replaced with something else.
Yeah. And do you also match, I believe we had that conversation, but you look at other schools, if there's programs that we think that we wanted to pull in because they get overpopulated in a different town, where we could take that upflow and then we could actually start filling our school with
We,
people to other towns, I heard.
yeah, our
That-
reputation is such that people do
Both
want
ways.
to come to us, even from schools who have existing CTE programs. And that's kind of my job, is to make that
Sure.
an option. And I think we've done very well with interest to bring kids in and pay tuition to us in order to come here. It's one of the few things where we actually make money in some cases.
Oh, I believe in it. I think it's a great program.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just a lot for people who may be unfamiliar to wrap their mind around. Doing the tour with you last year was mind-boggling because, this stuff is restaurant quality. In the back room you had
The
for
best
the
kitchen
culinary.
in the
I
state,
mean,
maybe.
I don't think people can even comprehend what you guys got going on there. Just the machines and, everything
We're
you
running
said is.
4 businesses also. I have a full-service restaurant that
Yeah,
runs.
it's
I have a
yeah.
print shop that runs. I have a cosmetology salon that runs, and I have an automotive shop that runs, that have regular customers come from the community and take advantage of those opportunities to do those things and support our kids at the same time. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps there's an opportunity for the town manager to get our fleet over there. Maybe have those automotive guys take care of it.
We did actually fix a fire.
I
vehicle
remember that story.
earlier in the
Did you
year.
hear that one? Yeah. And the other thing, because I know Councilwoman Capaldi, one of the reasons she wanted to do this is because we want to tell everybody about these successes, and there's many. As far as you stand right now, you're at capacity, if I remember correctly, for a lot of these. There's not a lot of selling you need to do necessarily because you're already.
Well, you're always selling because you want people to be aware of what's going on. You don't want to lose, I don't want to lose one Coventry student to another district ever. I think you're doing a disservice, frankly, if you're sending your kid to another district, because they're not getting as good an education as they're going to get at Coventry High School. I think when you talk about 22 AP classes at Coventry House, we have an incredibly strong academic program at Coventry also, as well as CTE. We have 22 AP classes. We have more AP classes than any private school in the state. I believe you're going to hear soon. I don't know. Can I even talk about SATs? Can I speak to that? I don't know to what extent this is embargoed, so maybe I'm breaking news. I believe what's going to happen is there will be an announcement soon that Coventry High School has the biggest improvement in SAT scores in the state this year. The numbers are quite impressive. I'll just say that. And if you're sending your student to another school, it's not because of academics or because of opportunities. Let's put it that way. It might be because of a soccer team or something, but it's got nothing to do with you're trying to get a better education for your child. That's not happening in another school right now.
Great. And that's the stuff we really want to hear. And, you know, part of us is making sure we collaborate on anything you think we could do to involve some of those, you know, those industrious type students. I mean, you know, anything you feel the town could benefit from, help, get the food trucks. You know, you guys have so many different things. That was another reason the councilwoman wanted to make sure we're staying in kind of lockstep on any of this. I know, you know, for instance, we have a historical collaboration and art event coming up. You know, things like that, Maria Broadbent might be interested
Interesting
in.
that you said that because
Go on.
Saturday, this Saturday, May 16th at Crescent Park, you can come try our food truck.
Very
There's a
cool.
food truck competition, a statewide competition of food trucks where we all create our own individual menus, and it's a competition amongst all the CTE programs that have food trucks down at Crescent Park. It's from 12 to 3 o'clock. It's called Rides Menu for Success. If you have any interest in that, if you want to email me or you want to just type in Ride Menu for Success into any web browser, you'll find that. I think it's $25, but you get to go to 5 different trucks, and the food is incredible. We won the state championship 2 years ago. Last year, you know, I think we got robbed, but I don't think they want to give it to you 2 years in a row. But on a nice day down at Crescent Park, all these food trucks, it's an awesome place to go, and you can see how talented our kids are and the great menus that they have. It's really diverse and interesting food that they have there as well.
Excellent. That's exactly what we're talking about. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Councilman, did you have
I
something?
just want to acknowledge your enthusiasm. Thank you for you can tell you're not acting up there.
No, I can't help
I
but
appreciate what you did. Great presentation. It's nice to see the other side of it.
Thank you.
I'd also love to see the food trucks incorporated more with some town events, the Halloween trunk or treats, the cops night out, like whatever we're doing with the town, you guys should be there.
Yeah, it's
It might be
complicated
difficult.
because you need 12 kids and you need at least 2 teachers there, and it's at nighttime or weekends. Sometimes it's complicated, but I understand the desire for that. I hear that all the time, and we are working towards having that be more available in the future for sure. I can promise you that's going to happen.
Thank you
Very
so much.
Appreciate your
Appreciate
time.
it.
Sorry if
Yo.
it took too long, but
No, that was good stuff.
okay. Thank you.
Hey, it's a big part of the town, and you know, people need to know. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, we skipped over undocketed.
Yeah, I
just so you
know. I
Okay.
noticed that one. Let's go back. Item 7, we'll open up public comment for undocketed items. Anybody in chambers would like to speak, come on up. Name and address for the record. Welcome.
Thank you. Scott Guthrie, 31 Maplewood Drive. Sorry for crossing the line earlier. I didn't realize I was going off topic when we were dealing with the fire department issue. And thanks for correcting me. Tomorrow night, Western Coventry Fire District is going to send another resolution to the state saying they do not want to be a part of the Coventry Fire Department. That falls out of character with 1948 law, chapter 2147, which was adopted into the town charter, which pretty much says how this is going to happen. Aside from that, it's a violation of 1202C of the town charter, which puts fire and rescue and emergency services under the control of the town council. It's sad to say that if God forbid there was something that went wrong in any one of the districts and they got sued, they don't pay. We all pay. So it's best to have the same coverage across the town for everybody. You know, the part about being, carved out, it was brought up last year. Council President sent a letter to the State House. The town council passed a resolution in opposition to this and sent it up to the State House. I urge you to do the same. And it's about time that the people of Coventry townwide get to say what they would like to have. We brought it up in charter review in 2022. We offered it non-binding, and the council was mum on it, didn't say a word. So I think people are clamoring to at least understand what's going on. As I said earlier, you get one CPR call, you're down to 3 people for 30 minutes. We're not a community of 5,000 people anymore. In 1948, it was Everett Hudson Sr. He was a state senator that had this passed through the General Assembly. It was adopted into the charter because it was a state mandate. So you can't just have a community that just doesn't have any fire or rescue protection. It doesn't say the same for police protection. I think there might be 1 or 2 towns in the state they don't have police protection, but are covered by the state police or a constable or whatever they have, in place. So, like I said, once again, this question is going to be sent to the General Assembly. I think that I'm totally against it. I want to see everybody have the same exact service. And that's why I was carrying in earlier, thanking the gentleman from Western Coventry that was involved in the saving of the life of my friend's daughter. So sometimes I, wander off, here and there. But I think it's important that everybody in the town understand that there is a charter, and people should take a look at it sometime. It is our governing document. And like I said, in 2 parts of the charter, specifically 1202C, and that is that you are responsible. In essence, all of us are responsible. If the town is going to get sued, the first name is going to be John Paul Verducci on it, unfortunately, and then we all pay. So it's time that we make one fire department in this town under municipal control. We've had discussions about having 1 fire district in this town, and Frank and I had these discussions, and he was thinking fire district, and now he's thinking the other way for the same reason that I brought up when we had fire districts. With what happened to Central Coventry, the lies came in. Central Coventry was a clerical error. A piece of property that was supposed to be assessed for $2.8 million was assessed for $28 million. So the money didn't come in. They couldn't figure it out for a couple of years. Put them in bankruptcy. The state spent $1.5 million of state money trying to get this district straightened out. And thankfully they're still alive. I was a state representative at the time. I had a lot on my plate at the time. And that's when I added a couple of laws that said each and every one of these fire districts has to send, an audit and an accounting of their business, to municipal affairs. And still some, across the state, some of it's kind of lackadaisical. But if it's under the control of the town, it's going to be automatic. So, hopefully, we can get this charter review started. We can get some of the questions that the council and the people want put before the voters, and make our town a better town and a safer town. And again, kudos to Western Coventry for coming down here. A lot of people think that I don't like them. I actually do. I used to live out there. I lived out there for 4 years. I helped them out there. So, let's try to get what's done right for the town. So a resolution to the General Assembly in opposition to this. And if it gets a committee hearing, please go up and testify. I'll certainly be there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Please say your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Nate Chatterley, 4 Linden Lane. I'm going to be real quick for you guys because I know you got a lot on your plate. Also, just want to kind of be very basic about this so I don't fall into stuff that have been already documented. With the vast amount of lots that are apparently owned by the town, and most of them have been, or I shouldn't say most, there's been a section of them labeled as underutilized. I would urge that the town council try and reach out to the redevelopment agency who's been tasked with coming up with ideas for underdeveloped properties in the town. It was kind of what the whole reason for creating the RDA was. And we were told at our last meeting that that has to come from the town. We can ask for you guys to issue things to us, but it has to come from the council in order to do that. So that's all I got for you.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anyone else in chambers? We will take a look over at Zoom. If you're on Zoom and want to speak, please raise your hand. All right, going back over in chambers. Did you have a hand? Okay. All right, I think that'll do it for public comment on undocketed. Thank you all very much. We will now go back to section 7. We're looking at item B. Is that going to be this one? Yeah, okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I put this on the agenda. This was part of the presentation that Mr. Fitzgibbon from Portsmouth gave about 6 weeks or so ago. The council asked the solicitor to follow up as to what they were doing down in Portsmouth regarding housing. So the solicitor has provided the council a document regarding some potential litigation that they and some other communities are engaging in. And it was brought up for discussion tonight, so the council can vet it and decide if it's something that they want to partake in or not. So it's kind of an open item for discussion amongst the council as to whether you want to join the litigation that Portsmouth is leading with Mr. Chacon and Mr. Larissa. So I'll leave it at that.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for following up on this item here. I believe we got that in our packet. I'll open up the discussion if anybody has anything they want to say. Councilman Houle?
I'll start this off. Couple of things that I have in opposition of this. I don't understand why the town of Coventry has to get involved in another lawsuit. We will bear the fruits that transpire from this. We will also be the largest land mass person involved, meaning so they're projected to break down the cost of this lawsuit. So let's just say to lean into the lawsuit to get it started, $100,000. It's going to be broken up by population. Coventry is going to have the highest population. We're going to pay the most money. It's a blank check that has no end in sight to push back on the state when they're going to win. It's mind-boggling to me that we're even. It's mind-boggling that we're even having this discussion about another lawsuit.
Yeah, so a little background on this. This one got sent to everybody who is going for affordable housing. It's just for discussion. Nothing, we're signing up for. I don't think, I won't speak for the rest of the council, but nobody here is looking to spend more lawsuit money, especially on something that, and I'm not 100% sure, but if this was challenged and the law was changed, I think we'd benefit anyway without being a part of it. So I understand your thoughts on that one, but I think this was kind of a continuation of an earlier discussion we had. So, we as a council have decided to put forth our targeted affordable housing bills. And I think some of that language is what triggered people to say, oh, well, if you want to do that, kind of join us in this fight. However, we're being a little more Coventry specific on our approach, and certainly not just going to jump into additional things without kind of knowing what the benefit is. So this is just kind of what's before us now. So did you want to say, Councilwoman Ionati?
To me, I personally would throw it would cost us 15,000 to join with all these other towns and stand as unity and with a strong stance on it. That's my opinion on it, because I'm not against housing at all. I'm not against builders. I'm not against building this town, but I am against this affordable housing, this 2030 plan. It's bad for the town. It's bad for the rights of our town. The planning department has no say, zoning has no say, town council has no say. I'm 100% against this 2030 housing plan. To me, to stand in unity with all these other towns, this is not a, what is it, non-part, I mean, both sides of the aisle are, towns are getting destroyed by this. We've put money into lawsuits for everything else, but when it comes down to protecting our town, to join a lawsuit with other towns that you're actually supporting them with their views and our views being together, that's part of being a team player and probably looking stronger than us doing it ourselves alone. I personally think that we should take any risk that we can, any lawsuit, especially when we have other towns putting money together to stand strong, and $15,000 to stand with other towns to try to stop something that's absolutely going to be bad for our town, that we already see it being bad for our town. To me, that's irresponsible. And that's like saying, I don't want to stand with other towns to speak up. So personally, I don't think that's that a lot of money to stand for something that most of the people in this town actually are fighting and mad at and yelling about and screaming at it. So we did do resolutions, which I'm, thank you, we put those all in, absolutely agree. But I'm not against housing, I'm not against building. I'm against towns, planning boards being told what to do, town residents having no control of their backyard, zoning laws being ripped apart. So to me, for $15,000 to join, what, how many other towns are in it? 10, 12, how many? 12 other towns that all made a decision to stand together. I say we should be doing it, but that's neither here nor there. That's all I have.
Just to clarify, Mr. Manager, as far as us action tonight, what, is there any time limitations on this and, next steps and things like that? Or are they just kind of gathering right now who would be a part of it or?
Mr. President, no, there is a time limitation.
Okay.
They're asking towns to act quickly. This was generated as a result of the council directing me to reach out to Mr. Larissa and Mr. Chacon and get what their proposals. This is their proposal.
So is there any documents that we need to look at and review on how they're,
This is the
this is the only thing we have? This is all it is. I didn't know
Their
if there was.
proposal. This is what they sent to all the city solicitors in the state, asking them to join in this litigation at the rate of a percentage based upon your population.
So
There's nothing else for me to do. I just want to make clear, what I think the council needs to do is this wasn't couched on your docket as a vote to approve an amount, but you have the information. I think the council, if they don't take any action, that's fine, but if a council person wants to put it on the docket to take action, but the answer is they're looking for a response. That's all if you read the tenor of the letter, they're looking for a response.
Gotcha. Councilman Hu?
Just for point of order and clarification, this is, if we wanted to take a vote on this, it does state, the agenda does state votes may be taken. So we could move on it if we wanted to, we just don't have to.
That's correct.
Understood. So in response to Councilwoman Ianotti's response, I do agree that it's to limp in, we'll call it, is 15K, but Larista and Chichione, their litigation costs are high. So this is 15K, Councilwoman, is just an entry. That's just your buy-in. You up here and you say all the time that we want to have end numbers and we want to have final things, and we're agreeing to enter a lawsuit that we don't have finality. And above and beyond that, the other 12 or 10 or 11 municipalities don't have the Johnson's Pond lawsuit.
At this point, I'm a hard stop on stopping this housing. So to me, $15,000, which we don't know, and yes, the Johnson's Pond, which we still have no idea where that's going. But to stop something for, I'm thinking for today, for tomorrow with this housing and all this authority, and you have people in this town that want us to stop it, and we're not even going to think of putting something that's going to be worth money, 15,000, instead of fighting something on our own. But we have 12 towns that can actually put money into the lawsuit because we're not fighting it alone. And to stop something with 12 other towns, that breaks up that. To me, I think that's just a strong show of towns have had it. And we're going to stand with them as well, because I think it's also unity for the towns to be together to show a strong stance instead of one town going and saying, hey, we want to stop it. We've been yelling, we've been, every town that's in this has been screaming. So if it's going to stop, it's almost like protesting. It's basically going with your town to go these other towns to protest, say no. And that's all my point. I mean, it's obviously.
And again, like I don't disagree with what we're trying to accomplish here. I disagree to writing a blank check to an open-ended lawsuit. It's nothing to do about what we're trying to accomplish. For me, it's the financials and it's the blank check. And we'll get the fruits of the apple tree. Like we're going to benefit from it.
Benefit from us.
Well, if they're testing state law and state law gets overturned, all municipalities will benefit, including the ones who don't participate.
To me.
So again, like, yes, I'll say to these municipalities, like, I think what we're trying to do is we have to be able to have more control in the LMI. I'm not disagreeing there, but we have to do it responsibly. And I will never approve a blank check. We don't have that money. We don't have it. Who's making rich? Like, I'm tired of making attorneys rich. Like we've already done this once. We already learned our lesson, didn't we? Again, I don't disagree with what you're trying to accomplish. Not the method, not in my opinion.
Vice President Brown.
I agree with Councilman Hool. Right now, there's 12 cities and towns, so that's still 27 that haven't committed. I think if the number was much higher of
So some of
cities
those
and
towns
towns,
aren't even
hold
in
on.
it.
If there was more cities and towns, if we were sitting there, that there was 35 cities and we were just on the outside of that, then maybe. But it doesn't we don't need another lawsuit. And I agree we're going to benefit in the end from whatever the decision is, in my opinion. Thank you.
So Councilwoman, hearing how you feeling, we changed the rules, so you submit that for an agenda item on its own for a vote, and when we have the others here, the next one, maybe you want to do it that way.
No,
Sorry. Hold
Point
on,
of order.
solicitor.
Mr. President, I just wanted to point out to the council that during my discussions with Mr. Larissa and Mr. Chacon, not only with regard to obtaining this proposal, but also that you should all be aware, I think we talked about it. The approach of this group is really a three-prong approach, right? One is pursue litigation. Two is pursue legislation. And three is to pursue political advocacy. So that's the approach of this group. And I know the council has already put in some of its own legislation. So that's one approach. And then the advocacy of trying to get your state and state legislators to support the legislation to put an end to it is also an equally important approach. So I
Good,
just
good
want you to
point.
know, this isn't the
I'm
only
partial
thing.
to the ones that don't come with dollar signs, so
This is, I just wanted you to know that this group is not
That's a
just
good point.
focused on legislation. That's
no, I appreciate that. Councilwoman Ionati.
So that's basically my point. We have 12 towns that are standing in unison to stop something stronger. We were just trying to do it off on ourselves when we could actually stop something. And actually, we hear from people all the time, that's going through, they're putting that through, planning now, because we can't stop it. But we're not going to do any steps for $15,000 to join it. Yes, it could be more, but we're fighting other lawsuits that have been started for less than that. But when you're asking to put some money towards our town to actually protect our town, we don't want to do it. But instead, we're defending our town for everything that we do. But we won't put any money into standing with 12 other towns to protect our towns. And we're going to just do it by ourselves. So to me, this isn't millions. This isn't, people could start, hopefully with them forming together, you have pretty much a force going out, and hopefully they look at it up at the Capitol and say, well, they're right now, and we have a lot of people coming here with people, because this is two ends of the aisle. People are getting their homes, they're getting runoff water. We're seeing that now. I mean, just alone in our town, what we're dealing with, the village of Tioga, or where they're putting all these homes in their houses, and we don't want to, we'll be like, oh yeah, sorry. Yep, we're sorry about that. We can't stop it. But, and I get what you're talking about, lawsuits, but for $15,000 to actually try to protect our own our town, and instead of getting a lawsuit brought to us, we're bringing one out to stop. That's my opinion, but it depends on how serious you are about wanting to protect this 2030 housing from taking over zoning and planning and people's areas and breaking all these rules of engagement for money. And that to me is, that's just my stance. I mean, everybody has their opinion, and I'm just a strong, hard, I'm all set with this 2030 plan.
Councilman Hool.
I just, again, want to state the number, $15,000 is just the beginning, but point of order, Mr. Solicitor, this is under the section where council may take a vote. I'm able to make a motion. I'm going to make a motion to deny joining this Giovanni Ciccione lawsuit based on the document that was given and the discussion we just had. That's my motion. I'm done.
All right, thank you. We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Discussion.
Again, it's very clear here. I want to accomplish the same goals. I just don't agree with the path of doing it. It's the lawsuit that I'm nervous about, and that's literally the only thing we disagree on.
All right, anything else?
What, we're taking a vote?
We're gonna, but I was asking any more discussion. So if you wanted to say anything else before the vote.
Go to vote. I'm not voting
Okay.
yes.
All right, just to clarify, the motion was to not join. Okay. All right, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Hul,
Yes.
Councilmember Ionati,
No.
Vice President Brown,
Yes.
President Verducci.
Yes.
That's 3 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. Motion passes.
Thank you. And let's see, moving on to a bunch of ordinances here. I'll see if I can do this in a non-complicated way, because there's a lot of heft to this. But the first thing to know is this is just the first reading tonight of these ordinances. This is part of our process where there's introductions, public comment, these are all still going to travel through the whole rest of the path. So I know if people see a lot of these, sometimes they think something's up. Well, in this case, something is up. We're trying to bring some more clarity to our current ordinance structure as it relates to several different pieces of the ordinance or the code right now. And essentially what this does is create one overarching definition of what we will accept from developers as we, topic of tonight, affordable housing, to make sure that we codify exactly what we will accept, as far as financial instruments to back up any of the work being performed. So this is one of those that's very technical in nature, but has a very real impact. All the things that were just brought up tonight, this relates directly to that, because what we're doing is trying to put forth some changes that really show exactly what we will take and what we will not take as far as the financial instrumentation. And then you'll see a lot of references being changed to match that overarching piece of the code. How did I do? All right. Go ahead. Do you want, Gus, please?
Just at a point, if you, and when you get to, after you get done reading the ordinances for its first reading, if you focus on ordinance number, I guess it's 2026-07, that ordinance is the key ordinance that redefines and reauthorizes and requalifies the definition of financial security. Because throughout your code, you have numerous locations where bonds and security are not defined in a uniform way. So the whole focus is to establish a new ordinance, and that's that section 2026-07, which would be create a new ordinance, section 123, which would be a unified definition of financial security. And then every other ordinance, except for the last three, because the last three take care of different things, ordinance number 2026-17, 2026-18, and 2026-19 require a different discussion. All the other ordinances, other than those three, are all ordinances where the word bond is used or security is used, and there's no consistent definition. So the approach was to make anywhere in the code where you're using that word, substitute the word financial security and refer to section 123 as the new location for the definition of financial security. That way, anybody in any department, in any level of government, has to go to section 123 and accept only those forms of financial security. That was the approach. We still would have to read the title of all these, and it's only a first reading, and then it has to be scheduled for a public hearing. And then it has to take, obviously any testimony, any modifications or changes, and then a second reading has to be done after that. But I just wanted you to give the approach of all these ordinances. If we had just put section 123 on here tonight, that would have been at least the point of tonight, to understand section 123, the new section 123. Once we did that, all the other ordinances are pointing to that and saying, go to that section. That's where we're defining financial security hereafter, assuming we agree with that.
No, I appreciate that. Because given that, I think it may make sense. Before we start reading them all, you want to start there? Okay. Well, you said it without saying. I could feel. That was nice. That was subtle. I get it. All right. So in this case, you want me to read the title and pretend to go read it quick? Like,
I think you could, if the council is willing to take it out of order, take that section, the new section 123, which is 2026-07 first. If you have a discussion on that, that's going to cover all the questions that you could possibly have about any other section.
There's the rest are just word replacements.
That's right.
Got it.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a first reading. That's it. There's no discussion. There's nothing else besides the first reading tonight.
Just reading.
That's it.
No questions
No.
of us to you?
There's
Okay.
questions.
All right. All right. So first, do I need a motion to take it out of order?
Why don't you do that just so it's
Yeah.
clear?
I'll make a motion to take the agenda out of order.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. So we will move to item E under section 8.
You could just read the title, Mr. President. That will satisfy the ordinance.
Oh, all right. Very good. This is an amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances, 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 123, Financial Security, Ordinance 26-07. And I think Councilman Wu has a question or a comment.
I do. I thought this was up for discussion this evening. So there's a couple of things. There was only two of these ordinances this evening that caught my attention, and the main one is this one. So we know that there's already been some questions in regards to accepting a line of credit. I don't understand why that is even back in here again. It's like the town of Coventry just loves to keep getting smacked in the face. We don't learn our lesson. But the more important thing that I really don't like in there is it states that the town can take a line of credit with the solicitor's approval. To me, that's putting us in contention. Why are you taking the hit or going to be the fall guy if a line of credit goes wrong? It should be the council that's approving that. Because if it was up to me, we wouldn't take any lines of credit. I'm going to deny every single one of them, and I want to put every developer on notice that I think it's terrible. But for the solicitor to approve it, with no respect due to our last solicitor, we understand what can happen and how not transparent it can be. So I would ask the town to not put our solicitor, who works on the behalf of the council, in a position where if something went awry, we're yelling at our solicitor who's supposed to be protecting us. That's my largest concern with that. I think lines of credit come to the council.
Yep, I think we all made that very clear and understand that. However, as usual in government, there's a wrinkle to this piece that may interdict with state law in some capacity. I don't know, you want to get into that now, or is that something we should save? Yeah, yes, please.
More detail.
Just so we know.
Hearing. But basically, this ordinance was drafted through the authorization of state law. I referred to it. State law provides the guardrails and the authority under which you can establish methods of security. It mandates that you have at least 3 methods, and there's an attorney general's opinion that says not lines of credit, but letters of credit in some instances need to be accepted.
But with all due respect, Mr. Slater, we're offering 4
I know.
options.
Well, that's why I'm saying and/or. You have to, state law says you have to offer at least 3 methods, and the Attorney General said in some instances, one of those methods has to be a letter of credit, at least in one instance. But a letter of credit, what I tried to do, if you were to look at the ordinance, I created a specific section on the letter of credit, and I agree, the council wants to make the determination. A letter of credit to be accepted would have to be irrevocable, be issued by a financial institution authorized to do business in Rhode Island, be payable by demand, permit immediate draw upon certification of default, non-performance, abandonment, or non-compliance, include automatic renewal, so it can't be term limited out, required not less than 90 days prior written notice of cancellation, expiration, or modification, and be governed by Rhode Island law. So the concerns that the council have, if that type of letter of credit, I would call that the gold standard.
It's almost it's almost 100% proof, but it's not protected by FDIC if a bank or institution goes out.
We can add
So a
that.
line of credit is not. And secondly, how would you as a solicitor make the justification or the judgment on whether or not a line of credit is released? It's done in the back room.
No,
Like
no,
it,
no, you
you would
can't.
get in,
Not released, accepted.
but
You-
if you're releasing it at the end,
No, I
correct?
wouldn't release it. This is
What, planning?
well, it would be planning or the council. It wouldn't be me. This provision,
But we just see what happened with planning 2 days ago. We had a constituent get up there and tell them that they're skirting around the taxes, and they still approved it. We just seen it.
Councilman, this is just an approach for the council. I tried to put, you made a very good point about an FDIC bank. This provision says it shall be approved by the solicitor, not released by the solicitor. The form would be approved. Do you have all these 8 items? Do you have all those items? If the council wants somebody else to perform that ministerial function or have it presented to the council and all those items be satisfied, that's certainly acceptable to me. I don't have any desire to be in the middle of that either. I was trying to find a way that the council could be assured that it's a letter of credit. And by the way, I forgot the most important thing at the bottom. It says the town may reject any letter of credit that fails to adequately protect the town's interest. So I actually put that in there. I put every belt and suspended language I could except the FDIC. And perhaps maybe it should be the council who approves the letter of credit and not the solicitor.
I just was trying to avoid the contention.
So procedurally, if we have amendments to this, does it go back again for another first reading, or was this part of the process?
This is a discussion. This
Okay.
discussion really should be carried on at public hearing. All these ordinances can be amended before, during, or after public hearing. And then the final draft is presented to you at second reading for vote, for discussion, vote, or action.
Okay.
So we're a little premature in this discussion, but it's valid.
No,
It's
that's
on the
good. Yeah,
council's
if there's,
instinct,
if
so-
there's some no-brainer things we can do, yeah. Great.
So that being said, maybe we just finished talking about that is the essence of 123, what I've just provided to you.
Right.
And obviously the more importantly, the 3 forms that I created would be obviously a typical performance bond, cash and escrow, or an irrevocable trust agreement and approved. Now, that one says in the form approved by the solicitor, but we could say the form's approved by the solicitor, but I don't know if an irrevocable trust agreement is something we might want to say, and the council. Just
And
to be
approved
considered.
as to checklist to make sure they have those items. This isn't us doing like independent research on,
It's,
bank accounts.
A letter of credit would have to meet section 123-5 to even be considered. And that's why it's got 8 requirements, and it still has an
right.
escape hatch for the council when it says you could.
Just the relationship.
Yep, and we can straighten that out.
So you're more of that person checking it. You're not approving anything against or for that, just like it would in a bond situation.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's really approval as to form.
That's the form. Yeah, exactly. Gotcha. Okay.
But
All
if-
right.
if the council, well, if there's any more questions, let me just make sure
Yeah,
make sure,
let's see.
yes, any other questions about
guys good?
123?
You good, Mia? Okay.
So, Mr. President, if that would be the end of 123 for tonight, and all the other ordinance except the last 3 are all just the word bond security is replaced with financial security as defined in section 123. That was the whole purpose, so that one section wasn't changed, and all of a sudden another section in another department could still take a letter of credit or could take a bond that wasn't up to this snuff. So this was an approach that sounds complicated, but really it's streamlined. I think if you understand section 123 and we get it right, then I think you're going to be satisfied with the result, because wherever the word financial security is going to be used from this day forward, 123 is going to be the controlling language.
Got it. So I think just from this discussion then, if we can squeeze in the FDIC reference, other than that, I think we as a group understand the approach. This is the first reading and we can go through the rest.
I
And
would
now
just
that we
ask
have an
you to
understanding of that.
recite, Mr. President, with the council's permission, I would ask you to recite item C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, and
That's
then
it.
stop.
Right. Yeah, the other 3 are related sentiments. Got it. All right. Yep. I will do item C first. So this is the first reading of ordinance 26-5, amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 56, Article 1, General Provisions.
And that just, as I indicated, just changes the word. It'll be bond, the security refers to section 123.
Gotcha. So the rest of these will all go to ensure consistency to the overarching 123. Thank you. Item D, first reading of ordinance 26-6, amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 106, Building Regulations. We'll skip E. We've dealt with that. We're on to F. First reading of ordinance number 26-8, amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 191, Section 5, Construction of Sewers by Private Developers. Item G, first reading ordinance number 26-9, amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances 2008, Part 2, General Legislation. This is Chapter 200, Soil Erosion and Sediment Control. Item H, first reading of ordinance number 2610, amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances, 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 209, Article 2, Permits. Item I, first reading of ordinance 2611, amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances, 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 255, Article 9, Supplementary Regulations. Item J, first reading of ordinance number 2612, amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances, 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 255, Article 10, Earth Removal / Sand and Gravel Extraction. Item K, first reading of ordinance 2613, amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 255, Article 13, Residential Cluster Development. Item L, first reading of ordinance 2614, amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 255, Article 17, Landscaping. Item M, first reading of ordinance number 2615, amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 255, Article 20, Wind Energy Facilities. And the last is item N, First reading of ordinance number 2616, amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances, 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 255, Article 21, Special Regulations, Solar Power Generators. So thank you. That concludes the first reading of the ordinances dealing with the Section 123. Good to go. All right, moving on. We have 3 separate ordinances that deal with separate areas. First reading for that one is going to be number 2617, Amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances, 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 255, Article 6. This is zoning district use and dimensional regulations, and Article 9, supplementary regulations. Item P is the first reading of Ordinance 2618, Amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances, 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 255, Article 9, Supplementary Regulations. And finally, Q, this is the first reading of Ordinance number 2619, Amendment of the Town of Coventry Code of Ordinances, 2008, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 255, Article 9, Supplementary Regulations. Let's see, is that... So, okay, gotcha.
President, the plan right now is to have the second reading and public hearing and vote on June 9th, the same meeting that we're going to have the comp plan in front of the council. So Doug will be here to answer any questions on any of these and answer any questions on the comp plan. So we're trying to do all of that in one night when he's here.
Sounds like we're planning on a good time. Okay, so at that time, it'd probably be good to dig into anything we have. So, you know, if we've got specific questions on those ordinances themselves, Doug will be here to explain how they came up, why they're doing, so we can get the full background as to why we think the changes are necessary. We want to be proactive, but we don't want to do things just to do them. So, go ahead, Councilman.
So we're not asking any questions on these tonight? I just, for clarification, Resolution 2026-17, there's a line in there that talks about kennel, states that they up to 20 dogs over a 6-month period. That includes boarding, like that's gonna add up. I'm trying to figure, like it's really fast. 20 dogs over 6 months if a person is boarding 2 dogs a week.
That's a question that's more steeped in policy than it is legality. I can just tell you that that this ordinance was originally part of, you may recall, we had a whole host of special use permits. For those of you who are on the council, maybe those of you weren't, state law got changed. State law got changed in 2023 that says special permits need to have specific objective criteria or they are automatically approved. So what my advice was to all the towns that I represented, and they took me up down in this town as well, is we made everything that was a special use permit at that time a no. We changed it, a blanket not permitted, so that the town would have time to digest each item piece by piece by piece. So kennels used to be allowed by special use permit, which means, but there was not a significant, they didn't satisfy the state law. That means they would have been automatically a yes. So what the planning department is attempting to do here, and it's subject to public hearing, it's subject to council review and more detailed questioning, is to establish a kennel use that's allowed, because you can't make it by special use permit, but provide a whole list of conditions that you have to satisfy. And that's their approach. The policy that Councilman Hu's mentioning about, is it happening too fast? Those are important issues, and maybe those governors need to be changed. Just like you made a change in one of the governors that I put in there about approving the form of letter of credit. Maybe those governors, but I'm not in a position to discuss the policy. My understanding, though, is the planning department did this in conjunction with the, I believe the dog animal control. So maybe both of them should be here to explain their reasoning to you, Councilman, and that will help you on the policy issue.
Yeah, it looks like there's three separate activity levels that are all going to fall under the same issue of, we don't want to give blanket special use permits because we don't have a lot of teeth there. By putting them in the code, that gives us reasons to say yes or no in a more clean manner as opposed to a general yes for things. So perhaps, Mr. Manager, maybe if Doug can give us a little write-up on the three, just saying how these came to be, something just high level to maybe get at some of the questions. So I think we have gas stations, kennels, and there's maybe one other thing. What is it? Auto body. So knowing that, I think that's the gas station. Yeah, so if you look at those three tranches of expansion, we want to make sure that since we know planning has these somewhere in the pipeline or they've encountered them in the past, we're trying to be proactive here to limit them from being able to expand under a special use permit where we could actually beef up the ordinance in the meantime. So that's a good distinction to make. So unlike the other one where we're changing definitions and references, this is putting certain activities into its own code, beefing those up, giving them more detail to actually give planning more codified reasons to say yes or no in a very transparent manner as opposed to a special use permit, which seems more of a blanket okay or yes, sometimes a green light, if you will, before they get the opportunity to go through each one. So if we can get maybe something from Doug, maybe a couple sentences or two to say, hey, over the past few years, we've noticed X, Y, Z. And then, we can get that ahead of time and then you can focus in on specific questions.
Versus spending a bunch of time on data that I didn't need, I guess.
All right. So that is all the ordinances. They've all been read. All right. Anything else on those? Okay. That's it. Looking for executive session. We'll be adjourning after executive session if anybody's waiting around. So just to let you know. Vote to take up into executive session. We will be going into executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 4256A2 for litigation matters. Social Holdings LLC versus Town of Coventry versus Social Holdings LLC. Terrence Gray in his capacity as Director of Rhode Island DEM versus Town of Coventry and Social Holdings and others versus Town of Coventry. Take a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk with the roll, please.
Councilmember Hul,
Yes.
Councilmember Ionati,
Yes.
Vice President Brown,
Yes.
President Verducci,
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Thank you. All right, we are back, Mr. Marcus.
You asked me for that in the beginning. I don't either.
That's why I didn't get,
Where I let it from.
All right, we are back. I will take a motion to leave executive
I
session.
make a motion.
Second.
Second,
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Here and none. Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Hul,
Yes.
Councilmember Ionati,
yes.
Vice President Brown,
Yes.
President Verducci,
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
All right, and we'll take a vote to seal the minutes of executive session.
I make a motion.
Second.
Aye.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Oh, sorry, roll call.
Councilmember Hul,
Yes.
Councilmember Ionati,
Yes.
Vice President Brown,
Yes.
President Verducci,
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Town council met in executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42465A2. No votes were taken. That concludes tonight's business. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion second, discussion, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, nay. We stand adjourned.